Hi everybody, this is the Rambling Toffee. I hope everybody's doing well this Thursday. Sorry for the delay. It was due to be out on Monday, but just due to different things that's going on this week, getting over jet lag from the holiday in Florida from last week, I've just not had that moment and that time to actually get to talk about everything that is Everton football. Looking forward to it, actually, to be honest with you. After this week, so the last this week has been really, really positive on the field. And I'm looking forward to getting more into that as we go through this episode. So yes, welcome to the first podcast of the 2024-2025 season. It's I can't believe how the summer seems to have gone very, very quickly, and just we're back again, back going to the football and everything else. It's just been a whirlwind, really. So yes, I'm looking forward to talking today about obviously the season's just started. I'll talk more about at the end of this podcast, as we get closer to the end. I'll talk about my experience at the new Hill Dickinson Stadium, my experiences of the day against Brighton. I didn't go to the game last night. I watched it on the television, but I just wanted to, I'll mention about how I felt through the whole process of getting up in the morning and going through getting to the stadium and getting home, and the whole day really, and what I felt about it. So yeah, it's been, for me, the summer. It's been very slow on the transfer front, as much as it's been very quick, very quick summer for me personally. Away on holiday in Florida for 14, 15 days, so that made the summer go quite quickly, really. But on the transfer front, it felt slow with players. We're trying to get players in. Obviously, when the season ended in May last year, last year, bloody hell, last season. And you know, hoping, the expectation, the hope, and who will come in, what player we're going to get coming in, and getting excited about that, and knowing that we wanted to be more attack minded, and get better quality players. And what I mean by that, a little bit more of a higher standard to the players that we had last season and over the last few seasons, really, and all the issues that we've had in the past, which I've talked about on this podcast, and all this, and having that optimism that maybe we're now turning the corner and bringing the better quality players, a lot more younger players as well, so who will have value in the future and hopefully will make an impact for us. Not in the short term. I'll get to that in a bit, but maybe in the long term. And it was just slow to start. And I think players were leaving, obviously, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin leaving and Ashley Young. Whatever people thought about Ashley Young, wanting to stay or not. And basically, we had players leaving, and getting Charlie Alcaraz, which was you would say was inevitable, was going to happen. So because he did end the season quite well, and he's got the potential to be a really, really good player in the future. He's still young, and he's got the potential, and to grow and get better, hopefully. So I'll get more into that as this, the last three games that we've had this season. So, but yes, it was slow, and there was a lot of impatience online, and with players, and trying, hoping that we would get the players that we were interested in, and like the Douglas Luizes or the Fafanas, or players that were made available. We needed a right winger, obviously, and Tyler Diblin was like the one that really dragged on throughout, for the last few weeks or so, until obviously being completed last week. Um, and it's just it the patience. I think we all know this, but patience and a football fan, it don't go well together. And for me, trying to be patient and just let the club do what they needed to do. Obviously, it was a new recruitment group that was put together, and obviously that's going to take time to everybody to settle in. You've got a new CEO and everything else, and it was doing. Maybe that was a reason why we weren't getting the players that we wanted at that point, or that we were going after. And a lot of players didn't want. They wanted to play in Europe. And it was just. And did they want to go to a football club as much as we've got a brand new stadium, a club that's basically been struggling in relegation fights for a long, long time. And did he want to actually go to a club like maybe they can say, oh yes, they've got money now, and maybe you know, we can move away from being the strugglers that we are, to come to the club. So it's been a bit of one of those things where patience was wearing thin. If you go on social media, a lot of people were very at each other's throats to an extent, critical of other people, who put stories out there, who know reliable sources and stuff like that, and it just went on. And I think we got players coming, obviously, that we needed to. The big one was obviously not players just coming in. Jared Bradford signed his new contract to tie him down for 5 more years. That just shows you the ambition that the club have, um, and the belief that they have in him. But also, obviously, he believes what that this is. The club's going to go in this direction, a trajectory, hopefully upwards, and it's going to be an excitement. The project, as they always say, is the project that they have. So yes, it was just that was a positive. Charlie Alcaraz, people hit and miss with Charlie Alcaraz, but we'll see how he goes. He did play well near the end of the season. He scored some goals for us as well, and let's hope he continues that to get better and better, because it's better for us, and it's also better in the future. So if clubs do come in for him, 2-3 years time or longer than that, and he's become an absolute fantastic player for us, and we can probably get a really good deal for him in the future, or we're in Europe playing well, doing really well, and fantastic, and he stays on longer. So we just don't know, but there's a value there for him if in the future. So, and that's what we want needed. Obviously, got Barry in the striker, who's potential. Could be a really, really good striker. I think the other night Terry Henry, bloody hell, Terry Henry was really positive about his performance against Brighton, and shows some bits and bobs. So we'll see. He's still got a lot of work to do, and he's not scored yet, obviously yet, and he still needs to put his chance away when he does get the opportunity to do so. But it's a work in progress, so the potential is there. Hopefully, as the season goes on and he gets more games, he gets better, and we see what we paid the money for and what we're hoping for in the future. So yeah, and obviously Tyler Diblin has come in. Yes, he's 19. Again, if you saw him for Southampton last season, early parts, I think every club in the Premier League and probably Europe were all interested in him and interested in what he's going to his potential. And he came on last night against Mansfield, and he showed little glimpses of bits and bobs in there. But it's his first game, so it's obviously very nervous for him as well. So first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and we're going to see more of that hopefully. But if you saw him with Southampton, he loves dribbling. He plays on the right. He's a right winger. That's what we wanted. But again, it's going to be one of those where we have to be very patient with him. Hopefully, you never know, he makes an impact straight away, and we see the best of him straight away. We'll just have to wait and see. But we have to also be patient if he has games where he's not performing at the best behind him, and we need to get behind Barry as well, and you know, and getting these players, the young players, we need to get behind them. We need to be patient with them, and let's hope they can actually make what we want them to do and make our team better, because that's what we want them for and what they've come to the club for. And that's so fingers crossed on that for. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall's come in from Chelsea. I'll go into the games. I mean, I will just say briefly about the Leeds game, because I was in America. I watched it in America, and basically disappointing performance. And obviously he played, and obviously it was disjointed throughout the whole of the team on that night. And just like players that didn't know each other. The system wasn't right. See, I think that David Moyes played with the players that finished last season, and obviously we were missing players for injury. We had James Garner out of position um, because Mikel being injured, and it and obviously on the right as well we didn't have Jake O'Brien. Obviously we were missing Jared Branthwaite, and we didn't have Jack Grealish. Obviously I'll talk about Jack Grealish in a moment, but we we started that, and you can just see Beto was not well. That's another story about Beto. I'll talk about that in a moment, but I won't talk about that much. But against Brighton, he's come in little moments here or there, but you can start to see what he can bring to the team in that midfield and what he can actually do. And I just felt he started to settle more and more in the Brighton game, especially in that second half. And you can see what he can actually do and I think he's going to bring a lot to the table, especially in that midfield. And of course, the big signing that we've made is Jack Grealish. Everybody was not expecting really that he would come to Everton. Obviously, well, it's Everton. That's the attitude of probably nationally and internationally, probably nationally and internationally, where and the media they would probably think that he should be going to somewhere, probably in the top four or top clubs in Europe who are in the Champions League, who are in the top places. But he wanted to come to Everton, and I think it was a really unexpected. When I heard about it, I think it was around May time, maybe after the season ended, that maybe he could come to Everton. So they got a deal going. It's a loan, and all I will say is when I get into the games that we've had since the season starts, is calmness. What I've noticed, you can see mentality straight away. He's got that mentality is higher. He's been at a club that he's been successful at. Okay, last 2 years or so, he's not been performing very, very well. He's actually said in interviews that he kind of fell out of love with football. Always played in the same position. He was never um, allowed to express himself and play the way that he did at Aston Villa, and what made him the £100 million player he was, and why Man City paid the money for him to go there. And I think, hopefully, what we saw last night against Mansfield. Obviously, I keep on saying I'll get back into the games in a moment properly, but you can just see he's above everybody else in the team. I you know I'll probably get detractors on this and probably say, well, he's not. He, is he going to be good enough? Is he going to make the impact for Everton? I think he will do. Give me a different opinion if you think what you think about Jack Grealish and how he started this season, and what do you think he can actually achieve at Everton for us going forward. Um, but anyway, let's get to it. I've just mentioned Leeds. I won't get too much on the Leeds game. It was a throwaway game for me, and it's just how we played. It was disappointed in so many ways. I think the only thing I'll say is that Jack Grealish came on when he did, and I think we seemed to be a little bit better probably later into the second half. A little bit, and I mean a little bit, but he came on. I think changed it a little bit. I think Barry came on and was a little bit better. Hold up play was a bit better, so there was little mild improvements for one or two, but most of it was just right off really. And I was quite concerned when we come to the Brighton game, which are we going to play like that again? How are we going to play it? Especially, players like Mikalenko. As much as what people think about Mikalenko, he's not. Is he good enough or not good enough? We kind of missed him, especially against Leeds, and and we were missing. Obviously, we had Jake on the right, Jake O'Brien on the right, and obviously missing Branthwaite as well. So we're having Michael Keane and James Tarkowski in that position, but a lot of the rest of the team is the same as. So I was a bit worried for Brighton. I didn't know what we're going to see next, and what kind of team we're going to put out. And I think one of the things I did is instantly they always changed it. Put Jack Grealish on, brought him in. Dewsbury Rolls in, put James Garner. Stayed in the same position that taking the Mikalenko position, and basically just those changes. I'm bringing in Barry as well to be the striker and put Beto on the bench. And instantly, as much as in that, even in the Brighton game, yes, there's still a lot of work to go on. There's still a lot of mistakes happening. There was still defensively, they were still weak, and we kept on giving the ball away a lot. We weren't comfortable on the ball. Still, there were still little moments, but there were pockets of moments through the first half, and then a lot more in the second half. I noticed because as much as in that first half, Brighton could have been 4-1 up. The chances that they had, but and again, it was from mistakes for like Tarkowski and Keane letting a ball bounce, and I think it was Matoma basically hitting the bar, and then they hit the post, and they could have run away with it, but we were still 0-0. And this is where what I'm liking the bits with Barry. The little he started the breakaway and then got getting forward. The ball obviously Ndai. Ndai just starts the season. He's been really really good. Put past it, Dewsbury Hall. Wonderful pass out to Jack Grealish, and Jack Grealish away, wonderful cross in, and then died right on the others at the end of it. Wonderful, just wonderful breakaway, counter-attacking goal, and it was a wonderful goal to see. And one of the things about Barry, what I'm mentioning, what we've seen, little things, and is he moved. He didn't go. He could have gone in the same direction where Ndai was, but he took one of the defenders away when that ball went in, and he left it gaping hole for Ndai to just put the ball in the back of the net. And then so we got that, and the momentum was there, and we were a lot more confident. You can just see the confidence, and you can see the influence that giving in that game. And he was just every time I watched it, I just didn't feel nervous or anxious because I know any player that we have. I think the only player that I don't get anxious, nervous with the ball at his feet is Ndai, and he's just got the ball, and he's just calm as you like in tight space. He's got players against him, and he just finds the right passes, the right balls. He's just so calm, and that's has helped, I think, a lot of other players, and they feel comfortable that when if someone wants to pass it to him, and then if it's a tight spot, just give it to Jack Grealish, and he keeps it calm and just rolls it around. And that is the mentality, and I hope he's doing it on the training field with those players, the young players, and anybody with him around. Just say, look, don't be anxious because this is the problem we're having. We've had it for years. Is that we've got some players that can play football, but one of the things that we all complain about, and I complain about, we all complain about it, is why can't we keep possession for a good length of time? And Brighton game, it was still there. We were still giving the ball away. We would pass the ball around a few times in a defensive situation to a midfield, and then give the ball away. You'll go forward and we'll just misplace pass or a misplay, or we would get forward, and it was still doing this, and it happened in Leeds as well. We would get forward and get in a good attacking position, and instead of being confident and go for it and actually go for it, we went right back. I won't go back to the Leeds game, but there was an incident in that game is where we went right forward. I think it might have been Dewsbury, I can't remember. It was somebody, and it just went back. And I thought, we got that. Why? And it's a confidence thing. I know that, but the Brighton game, we saw little bits getting better at it. The second half, we could have finished 4 or 5. We had chances. The only player, and I think this is which my concerns are, is Dwight McNeil, and he's not started the season very well. He's given the ball away a lot. His confidence is gone. He had opportunities in games, and he was just like, he had shots, and he was just tame, and there was no something has gone. And I don't know if it's because we've now got players in, and he has to fight for his place, and he has to fight to get in that team, that he's struggling to to do that. And I don't know. And it's looking likely more and more he's going to become a player from the bench, and he's just going to be one of the subs. And I will say, in a sense, like Charlie Alcaraz. He came on later in the second half. I think it was for Jack Grealish, and didn't make an impact as much. He just gone through the motions of the game against Brighton. And I'll get onto the Mansfield game in a minute, but he was just doing his bits, but he didn't really make any kind of impact when Jack Grealish came off. So, in that sense, but he's going to be one on the bench. But now, there was an interview today with him, I think after yesterday, and he said everybody's battling for places, and everybody, it's a lot, good players, and everybody's fighting for the spots that to get in the team, and they're all there to do a job for the manager. That's what he said. He would do all for the manager, and I think I'll get to Mansfield, and that's his attitude. He knows he might be on the bench, but he has to force the issue. So when he gets opportunities to do so, he has to make an impact and say to the manager, "I want to be starting the next game," forcing the issue. That's the manager wants that. I want that. I want to see all the players on that who we've got now in that midfield. I would like another centre mid. I've talked about transfers to go in that midfield. So there's a lot of competition going on. We've got a situation with the African Cup of Nations, and Idrissa Gueye is going to be gone, and Dye is going to be gone. So who we can probably sort out with Van Dijk going. We've got Jack Grealish. We've got players who can play that position. But it's when Idrissa Gueye goes, so we need somebody to play in that role. So number 6, we'll see. It's a Thursday. It's the 28th of August. The 1st of September is the transfer deadline date. So we'll see. If we do, we may have to play with what we've got. But that was the Brighton game, and it was better. It's an improvement. It's a work in progress still. There's still a lot of work to do. But I'm seeing what I like as positives. I want to see something good. I want to see better. I want to see, passing better, getting through the lines better, getting forward better, creating more opportunities, and to be a more competitive team. To be still the Everton that we all know, that goes out there and puts in the work, the shift, and basically worked hard for everybody, each other, and get that side of it, dirty work, and being that kind of Everton, but also having a bit that quality as well of being competitive, and actually also players full of confidence and happy and fighting to want to be in that starting 11. That's what I'm hoping, and it may take time. I don't know how far, but at least we're not like Manchester United at the moment. At least we're not like West Ham or other clubs who are struggling and have got real problems off the pitch as well as on it. At least we're in a better place, and I just hope that we can continue to grow and get better with that and the players that we have in the team. I may have missed players that we signed. I know we signed a couple of goalkeepers as well, Travers and is it King from Wolves. So we signed. So there's a lot to be positive about, but there's a lot of work to be done, and there might be some bumps in the road, and there's going to be lots of if buts and maybes. My next podcast might be completely me moaning about the performance against Wolves when that's on Saturday, and we could be a complete opposite, and I could be talking about next week how bad we were, and this player and that player should be starting or whatever it may be. So that's football, isn't it? Really, and that's just how it is. But let's just start in a positive frame of mind. Let's forget about the Leeds game. That was just how it was. I just don't know why the performance was like that. Just a bit on the Mansfield game last night. What I found, obviously it was a kind of a strong team to an extent. We were obviously missing Pickford. Dewsbury was on the bench. Just again was given a rest. Pickford was on the bench. He was rested. So you had Ndiaye on the bench. I think the real starter was Jack Grealish from against Brighton and most of the team against Brighton. Um, and we started with Armstrong and Charlie Alcrest came back in. Armstrong was in. Garner was able to play in his midfield role, and we also had Mikolenko back in, so Jacob Brown. So on that front, it was one or two. It was a few players taken out, but we brought some young players in, obviously giving them an opportunity, and typically Mansfield put on. They fought, they battled all the way through, and made it really difficult for us to break them down and to get opportunities. We created opportunities, and Jack Greaves was all over the place and just creating opportunities at every turn. But we Shayak said that earlier shot, which was a great save by the goalkeeper, but they frustrated us in so many ways, and it was like, are we going to break them down? But I will say one thing that I did like a lot of. We were keeping hold of the ball a lot more. We were passing the ball around a lot more, not giving it away more. Okay, it's against lower league opposition, and you know maybe it was a lot better, and they're not going to jump at you as much as a Premier League team would be. But they were very, but they did make it difficult, and they had little moments here or there. But I think it was just a matter of time when we were going to score. But it was just frustrating that when we did get the chances, first half, it was like just missed the target or blazing over. Even Jack Grealish had one that blasted over the top. I thought Harrison Armstrong was really good. He got better and better as the game wore on. He got two assists in the game. The first one obviously set up Alcaraz, and then the better one went right across. Um, and I thought for an 18-year-old, it's up in the air at the moment. From my perspective, what do you think? Do you think he should go on loan for another season, or do you think okay, it was Mansfield, so you could probably say you were playing against players probably at his level currently, so that's probably why you got that kind of performance, or because he's playing with the likes of Jack Grealish, um, and you've got James Garner around him and players around him a little bit more Premier League experienced who've been able to help him, through the game, or does he stay? Is he part of the plans for David Moyes? But the concern I have is that he'll be just sitting on the bench and we're just waiting his opportunity. And part of me feels that I think he should be playing week in, week out, getting as many games as possible, getting as much opportunity as he possibly can, and coming back next season, I think then ready to fit into that midfield and be that player. But, he did have he was a really competent performance, and I think he did get man of the match last night. He was close. I think Charlie Alcaraz was also up there with man of the match was because I thought he was really, really good last night. He was everywhere. He was getting passing movements and everything else. He had that obviously chance in the first half. His goal in the second half was a fantastic goal. How to whip it right round, bend it round the goalkeeper into the net. And it was a good performance. And you can see, I could see from Jack Grealish and other players how pleased they were for seeing him, because he started against Leeds and also Brighton wasn't exactly when he did come on. He lost his place and didn't make the impacts he wants that he did last season when we saw flashes of what he's capable of doing and what he can do. So it's nice to see him perform last night. Okay, it was Mansfield. You can say it's Mansfield, but it was a competitive game. Gives him confidence. Gives puts them back into the manager's thoughts, thinking, "Yeah, we've got a player here." And if he's on the training pitch and he's putting in the work and fighting to want to get that spot in the team, all kudos to him. And he's only 22. I mean, he's still got loads to show. And I hope he just gets better. I hope he just keeps on getting better and better, as I mentioned before. I hope he does, and it'd be great. And if he gets better, and we get players, improving and getting better because of the competition that we have, it's all a good thing in it. So that's my positive. I thought Barry did some link up plays all right, but again he tired near in the second half. He was all right. He played okay. Just a lot. There's a lot more from him to come. I thought Beto, yeah, he got his goal, but he had a chance I think earlier on where he got put through and he just passed it back to the goalkeeper basically. Didn't have time. He didn't. He just panicked and he got his goal, but it's just typical. Anybody could have scored that. And the jury's out for me on Beto personally. I don't want to keep going back to Leeds. It's a forgetful thing, but he was terrible. Like the rest, a lot of players were terrible, but he was terrible, just giving the ball away every time, ball bouncing off him. He wasn't being that player. Even when they were trying to get balls around to for him to run on like he normally does, he was still shockingly bad. And I think, if we're letting Chimiti go, as been rumoured today to Rangers, if he's going to go that way, we do need another striker in because Barry's young, and you have to let him get into the, run of games slowly and not throw him in deep end because if he doesn't perform well, obviously, there are fans out there, you know, he'll start moaning, getting on his back, thinking that he's not good enough and everything else, thinking he's shite, and not giving him that. So it's going to be a gradual thing with him. I don't know. That's down to David Moyes, but Beto, I think he needs to, if he's going to stay, and if David Moyes, we don't get another striker in, we don't have that opportunity to do so, and he is here, then he has to pull his finger out and he has to do what he did for a very short period, the second part of last season, and score goals. That's the only way he's going to stay in the team, and that's the only way he's not going to. So he needs that kick up the backside, and I think Brighton, he didn't. He missed one. He put one over the bar. He didn't. He did one or two good things here and there, doing his usual thing, pushing, getting off players and so forth. But he's frustrating for me personally, and I don't know. If we want to elevate this club to the next level or to move up and gradually progress, he's not good enough to be in the Everton team in the future. We need better players that can hold up the ball. Barry hopefully will be that player as well, but we need another striker that could do the same sort of thing, or somebody a bit different that can do something a bit different to what we do, playing off, knocking the balls down the line right round the defence for him to chase onto. We need a little bit of mixed striker. So we'll just have to wait and see. We've got a few days left of the transfer window. You never know, we might pull something, um, and bring a striker in. But at the moment, there's no news, no news out there. There's no noise out there, unless it's all going on behind the scenes and we don't know. Unless it be transfer deadline day and we pull off 2 or 3 players out of the blue. I don't know. It'd be a very interesting few days. So it'd be interesting with Harrison Armstrong to see if he stays or he goes. Um, but his performance was good enough last night, for me to maybe stay, and be on the bench. But maybe getting more game time. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm a bit hit and miss with him at the moment because he played really well last night, and I don't know if he should stay on and be part of the squad, and hopefully, and may get more game time. It may start the next game. It's depending on what David Moyes wants to do. So for me, he's one of those. He's only 18 as well, so he's got plenty of time. Um, yeah, so good start to the season. It's better than it has been. I think it's when we beat Brighton in August. It's the first time we beat a team in August since that manager, that waiter, that so and so was managing. I think it was was it Southampton? I think we beat somebody 3-1. I think Decore scored at Goodison. But yeah, so it's just nice to be smiling a little bit when at least we're not like other clubs that are going through the struggles at the moment. And it's just nice to be, this early in the season and just, enjoying going to the football and getting excited about it. So yeah. And finally, before I end this podcast today, my experience of Hill Dickinson Stadium, the first game there on Sunday. For me, I don't know. I was excited in the morning, also nervous. I couldn't sleep, but then again, I was battling with jet lag, so I had an issue trying to get to sleep at that point. So it was a bit of mixture going on, but I was kind of excited about the day. I didn't know what to expect. Um, I'm not referring to the football game. Well, kind of. Football was we could have been playing like we did against Leeds, so I was concerned there. But I was excited because I couldn't wait. I've been a couple of times. I think a year ago I came and I actually took a picture outside um, the stadium, and this is when it was still being built, obviously. And that was so I was seeing it. So I saw the size of it from outside the gate, and so the morning for me was obviously because it was 2 o'clock kickoff. I got my mate picking me up at the train. Went to for a coffee before that, and I met another Everton fan in the coffee shop with his 2 sons. Hi Paul, if you're listening out there, um, who talked to him about the game today. They're in the corporate in the West Stand. I'm in the West Stand, but in the lower, and they're in the corporate. So we were talking about it, and yeah, I was just saying I'm excited but very nervous. I don't know what to expect, not just from the game, but the whole routine changing. So in the past, it was always my mate picked me up from Winslow. We'll drive to East Lancs, community Goodison, but we'll go to a KFC for something to eat, and then we would park up not far away, about 10-15 minute away from the ground, and walk up. And I always like to be there an hour before because I like to get in the stadium at Goodison. I like to get in, sit down. I get a drink. I don't get anything because I've already eaten, so I get a drink, and I just sit and I just watch, the warm ups and everything else, and get into it that way. And that's what happened on Saturday. The difference was we travelled a little bit past Goodison and we went further in, and we're about 10-15 minutes away from Hill Dickinson Stadium, and we've got parking. So we parked up and we walked down, and it was quite straightforward walking, showing your ticket at the gate and going in. So I'm not eating anything. So this is the first new thing. I'm going to eat something at the stadium. So went in, and I thought it's such a hot day as well. That was another thing. It was really roasting, and I was absolutely sweating. And I thought, I'm not feeling well here. Am I get picking something up? No, it was that hot. Got in and thought, right, I'm going to get myself an Everton shirt. I wanted to get a new one. So I went into the club shop, queued up for that. And then I wanted to find my brick, and I found my brick on Everton Way. And it was getting close, and it was getting close to about, probably this time, for some reason, the time went, and there was about 40 minutes. I went into the gate to go in, and it was quite, and this is my experience, because I know out there, that'll be for another day, out there, a lot of people talking about the experiences of different concourses and corporate in all the different issues with running out of food and concourses being packed, food and drink and everything else. So my experience, because it was about 40, 50, 45 minutes before kickoff, I walked in and it wasn't that busy. So I saw the self-serve and I thought, I've not eaten anything. I didn't get anything from outside. I got a pie and a drink, a Pepsi. So I got that and it went in and out, straightforward, no issue. I thought, well, that was pretty good. So went up the stairs, found my seat, and the walking up and just seeing that the stadium and just seeing the view, I was absolutely taken back. I was like, wow, it's you see the pictures, the videos of what it looks, but seeing that for the first time, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I just kept on saying, in my mind, wow, look at the size of this stadium. It's massive. And yes, it's 53,000. It's not like going to Old Trafford, which is about 75,000, wherever they're the tenths or whatever. For for somebody like me, or if you guys probably, what do you think? What was your experience? What did you feel on that day? Because you're so used to going to Goodison and you see the pitch, so it looks small. The pitch looks small at Goodison, and obviously the stands are all more narrow, but it's low. As I just couldn't believe the size of it, but also it went, how steep it was. The stands were. You can see it from watching the videos, and Mark Thomas out there, who's done the drone stuff out there, who's been on this podcast and hopefully be on soon to talk about everything that is not just about the stadium, everything about Everton in the future. He, you know, what he put out there and what other drone guys, been putting out there, you just didn't see the enormity with your own eyes how steep. Because of where I sit in the west lower, I'm next to what was the Gladys, um, formerly the Gladys, which is the home end now, and it was so steep. Where I sit, it was not. It didn't feel as steep, but when I turned around to look up to the upper tiers, I just saw it was steep going downwards, and I just, and then build up, and obviously the siren and the Z cars. And again, if you've been on Twitter and if you follow me, you probably saw a video that I posted of me recording the sound of when the players came out and the sirens and the Z cars, and it was so loud, so loud to a point that I jokingly, I've got hearing aids, I had to turn my hearing aids volume down because it was that loud and it was hurting my ears because it was so loud with the roar and the fans, because it was such a wonderful day. I was really getting into this, and I know we can talk about all, as I mentioned, about all the issues with food and drink and concourse and everything, that's all the issues that need to be um, but sitting there and everyone just sitting there as fans and forget about that bit. It was so, I had goose pimples. I just couldn't. My hairs were standing on the back of my neck. They just were so. How to describe it? It was so emotional moment. Hearing that and the roar and the as and the team playing well in bits throughout the game. Obviously playing well and scoring. Everything about that day worked out for us. Obviously, I completely forgot about Jordan Pickford saving the penalty as well. But it was like a day like the curse that we've seemed to have got at Goodison in a funny way. It's got lifted, and we seem to be getting a bit of luck that we've not been having recently. And okay, yes, they got the penalty, yeah, but it we had bit of something lifted a little bit, and everybody was so in such a positive frame of mind. Players playing well, getting good performances, and everything was doing so great. And that was the experience. I just got very emotional. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe. I kept saying, I can't. This is not Everton Stadium. We're not supposed to have these nice things. We're not supposed to have a stadium like that. We're not supposed to, because we've been just been treated like shite for years, and having crap teams and crap owners and crap this that infrastructures and crap and everything. It's just weird to have something that's nice and that's ours. And okay, again, as I've been saying, I'll say it finally, that's for another week regarding all the things that's going on, regarding ticketing issues and the concourses and the food and drink running out and all the things and everything that's going on regarding that needs to be rectified and sorted and corrected. And I hope it does as quickly as possible. But the experience of that day for me personally and people around me who I spoke to and people I used to go to Goodison who were sitting not far with me who were known for the last 2-3 years or so. And the experience was absolutely amazing, and it will always be in my own mind for a long time to come. And it was absolutely amazing. And just leaving the game, yes, it was getting used to getting back to that car park and getting out and all the rest of it. That's just a change of routine. I think what will happen in the next game that I go to, which will be Villa. It might change a bit when I go into the stadium. Instead of getting food in the stadium, I get something outside. Or might go into the pubs. I don't know. I haven't decided. Make sure I always go walk to the ground early, and actually probably pop into Bramley-Moore pub or one of the other pubs that are walking up there. Then be probably hopefully I get a chance to get a drink in there or something like that. I don't normally drink alcohol at football predominantly, but I didn't do it last time, but I might do it on this occasion. So the next game. Anyway, I've rambled on way too long. Hopefully the next episode will be a little bit less time, unless I've got something to rant about. But it's been nice today not to really rant too much about most things. I just it'll probably be the next episode or something else. I might get the same experience everybody else has been getting at the stadium regarding food and drink and all the rest of it. So until I experience that, I can't give my own personal opinion. Let me know what you thought about, what's been happening, not just with the ticketing issues and everything else at the stadium. Do you think it should, will it get rectified quite quickly? Do you think it'll be get sorted soon, or is it just going to drag on? Are we going to keep on having issues like this for a while until they do get sorted, or are they going to sort it out straight away? So just let me know in the comments. Let me know about your opinions on team currently. Do you think what other players we need to get in? I think personally, right wing, uh, uh, right back, centre mid, and a striker. I think those three probably need to bring in. Hopefully, we can get somebody through the door, even if it's loans. Let me know what you think. But it's all a positive start. So to the season, better than it was expected to be, especially after the loss to Leeds. Let's just continue going against Wolves. I'll be back with my next episode of the Rambling Toffee podcast next week to talk about the Wolves game and whatever else, even a transfer deadline day as well will be Monday. So if I'm recording on that day, hopefully we might have some new signings coming in or any players that are going out, such as Nathan Patterson. I forgot about to mention him, and Chimity, to see if those two will be going out on loan or not. We'll see as we get into that episode. And other than that, thank you again for listening and supporting as ever. Shout outs to Steve and Martin. Thank you for your GoFundMe payment amount with some money. Sorry, I can't get my words out. Giving me some support on the podcast. I do appreciate it. And hopefully it will be put towards helping the podcast grow and get better as we go through the season and onwards. So thank you again for everyone for listening and watching. This is Mark, the Rambling Toffee, signing out. Take care. Bye bye.